Hi everyone, it's Ardith, and I have a pretty card with a late summer theme for this week's Split Coast Stampers Featured Stamper Challenge. I used one of my favorite Jillian Vance stamps. In fact, this was the very first stamp I ever purchased from this company, and I can honestly say I still love it as much as I did when I first got it. I've used it many times over the years with different media and different techniques, but I don't think I've ever no-line colored it. I was inspired by the featured stamper in the challenge, but I've also been watching Sandy Allnock's Fall Flowers series this week, and I've been inspired by her as well. Okay, so I started by stamping the daisies with Catherine Pooler's Shea Butter ink. I probably could have stamped off one time and gotten a lighter impression, but I wasn't too concerned because I knew that my yellowy orange coloring would cover up the lines. I've sped up the coloring quite a bit, but I think you can see the process pretty clearly. I laid down my lightest color on all the petals, giving them some good coverage. I find turning my paper is much easier for me than turning my hand, so that my strokes are going in a direction that gives me the most control. Then I worked my way through my other shades of yellows through to oranges, just putting very light flicks of color on each petal and getting lighter and smaller with each darker shade. My final color is a dark pink, which gives a ton of depth and contrast, but it still leaves the flower looking orange overall. Next, I did the flower centers. I chose 3 shades of a warm golden brown, and I started with the lightest shade, working down through the darkest and then back again. My habit of turning the paper means that I need to keep my light source in mind, because I do like to leave a small light area on each flower center and shadows on the opposite side, but because they're positioned differently, the spots are slightly different on each daisy. The stems and leaves on this design are very thin lines, but I was quite comfortable with making them a bit thicker with my olive green markers. I varied the pressure between light and medium so that I would get different thicknesses, especially on the curling leaves. I went back with a darker shade to add a bit more depth to them. I created some contrast by using a very pale blue-green marker around the flowers. In retrospect, I probably could have done this before all my coloring and certainly before I colored the stems and leaves, but it's not difficult and the marker is so light that any uncovered areas are barely noticeable. To finish the card, I stamped a sentiment from Bloom in Catherine Pooler Icing on the Cake ink, which is a deep dark brown. I used a white gel pen to add some highlights to the flower centers, the petals, and stems and leaves, and then I trimmed the panel down and glued it to a craft card base. I added a few sparkling clear confetti sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. I hope you enjoyed this video. No-line coloring is a fun and easy way to get a different look from your stamps. Shopping links are below and on my blog. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.